All right, today we're going to talk about lowering the bar to create a situation where you can absolutely positively be consistent in what you're supposed to be consistent in, complete stuff, knock stuff out, be a person that's able to be disciplined, um, and redefining what that means. So I recently made a video that's on this exact same topic, but we're going to call this one lowering the bar. And I think we can dive into deeper into this topic and kind of hit on specific things on why I'm saying lower the bar, because it's not just like tasks, it's also more than that. It's having to do with life as well. So the first thing is what I'm referring to is multiple different things. Lower the bar can mean consistency in doing a task. It'd be working out. For me, obviously, making these videos is a consistent thing that I'm trying to do. It could be in your confidence and speaking with people, having conversations. It could be you going and uh, doing sports. It could be you trying to lose weight, so you're going bike riding, playing tennis, or whatever, what have you. Lower the bar. The reason why I say that is because you want to lower the resistance you have in your mind that stops you from doing whatever you want to do. The reason why you're not doing whatever you want to do consistently is because there's tons of resistant barriers that you have to break through in order to get that task to be completed. So think about it in that way. Like, there are things that are in the way of me going to the gym. Well, what are those things? Well, you gotta put the shoes on, right? That's we don't think about the little things like that, but that's a thing. You have to put the shoes on. You have to get ready in some kind of way. Maybe you always wear your handy dandy hat so your hair can stay together. You've got to put on specific gym related clothes so that you're not sweating and it's not dripping all over the place when you're at the gym. Different considerations that you make, right? Maybe you have to bring a lock because the gym that you have doesn't provide locks. So you have to provide your own lock. So you have to make sure you have that. Then you have to drive there, right? You finally got your clothes on, you got your shoes on, you got your gym lock, you got your car keys, your wallet. You got to have whatever they need for you to scan in on your phone. You got to make sure you even still have access to that on your phone. You finally get in the car, you have to drive there. Let's say you're like me, it's 15 minutes away. 15 minutes you could have used to what? Do anything else. 15 minutes you could have used to be on your phone, scrolling, and filling your mind with information that's useless. Because that's what we do. Like, we oftentimes, like, we're constantly looking up the workout videos. We're looking at the workout videos and we have a hard time actually doing any of the stuff that we find in the video. We're filling up our brain with tons of information that we've never applicated. So think about it like that. Like, there's so much information that we have throughout our day. You might have changed your algorithm. God bless you. You might have changed your algorithm to where it only shows like workout stuff. So you feel like you're making progress along the way. And that's a weird rationalization. It's like you're still taking action, but you're not at the same time. It's a way for you to have an excuse to why you're not going to the gym. You can say, I don't have all the information, but I'll say lower your bar in two different ways. The information, you don't need to know everything in order to start going to the gym. That's number one. Lower the bar for how much information you need in order to start doing a thing. If you want to develop the ability to play the guitar, just get a guitar and start playing. That's a lot better than saying, well, let me make sure I learn all the chord progressions and learn all the downsides of playing over time. Does it lead to arthritis? Or let me learn what is it going to take in order to be good with a guitar? How long will it take me to actually learn? You start learning all this information, it adds to your mental resistance to not do it. Don't try to learn all the information. Lower your bar and say, I'm just going to get into guitar and I'm going to just start playing with it. Think about when we were kids. If a kid walks in a room and there's a sea of instruments, he just walks up to any instrument, whether he knows how to play it or not. and just starts playing. Yeah, it sounds bad to the people around, but we got to get back to that just enjoyment, just play, just to play. See what I'm saying? We were in a different place when we were children where we just played. We just enjoyed life. We just were fine with being imperfect, fine with being playful and not being so serious. Even these videos, like there should be a play to it. Like, I don't feel like doing this video. This is not really something I want to do, but this is cool. I mean, I'm going to do it, whatever. Like, I'm just going to throw it together. I'm going to just kind of wing it. And sometimes winging it is good for a consistent reason. What I mean by that is maybe you should wing it and not be so perfect. Maybe you should lower your bar so that you're not caught up in perfectionism, so your resistance isn't so high. The reason why you have so much resistance concerning doing things is because you have set the bar at a perfectionist bar, one that you'll never even reach. So it scares you every time you try to do it. See what I'm saying? As I've developed this skill of communicating, being able to talk for long periods, I've realized that perfectionism is my number one enemy. When I start self monitoring, I'm already self monitoring as it is because you're building a skill. You're going to pay attention to how well you are doing now versus, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, which is when I started 3 months ago doing this. So you're going to pay attention to where you are, how far you've gone. You're always going to pay attention to that. But you should limit that while you're producing, while you're taking action. And then once you stop, then you can go back and look and see, okay, I had breaking points in this. I struggled in this area. Maybe I could have cleaned that up. But while you're actually taking the action, you should allow yourself to learn, allow yourself to enjoy the moment. This is a moment in time and you can enjoy it. You can enjoy your process. And I'll say this, when you enjoy your process more, it makes it easier to continue enjoying it and continue doing it. When I was in, I think, 10th grade, my dad introduced me to tennis. One of the best things he could have done for me because it has led to me bringing people together, having fun doing so. I was in 10th grade. The next summer, he was taking me to play tennis every single day, literally, without rest. That was our routine. Tennis, and there was a program in the state of Michigan, at least, where you get 2 free games as a student in Michigan. You get 2 free games to bowl. You get 2 free bowling games. So that was our routine: tennis and go play bowling to knock out our 2 games. So that was something that we did every single day, and it was amazing in the beginning. And it's funny looking back. I didn't enjoy those days. I didn't. Because I felt like I was in competition with him at something that he was already leaps and bounds ahead of me. But sooner or later, something started to happen. The consistency built the results. It was my first time ever playing tennis in my entire life. I don't know why he chose to wait till I was 15 years old to introduce me, but for whatever reason, that was the timing that he picked. We spent that entire summer playing tennis, playing tennis, playing tennis, playing tennis. And then what's crazy is the next summer, I mean the following year, I was on the tennis team and I became the number one singles, just like that. It was an immediate thing, and to me, I didn't know how much progress I had, but we weren't really doing anything crazy. We just played. He just challenged me, and I did not like it. But when I got on the court with my peers and I started to play with them, I realized that the thing that he had given me was invaluable. And I had became the best on the team. Had became a leader of my friends, and I had a skill that I not only loved developing, but I loved just playing. So I love the process, right? So one, I need to call my dad and thank him. But also I'm just thankful that God introduced me to that through him, because that's something that has carried me throughout my life. I've just this summer, that's a way for me to hang out with buddies, to invite people out, to have a good time. I really come alive in that area because it's something that I genuinely love. I showed up to all the practices. I never missed practice because it was something that I genuinely loved. I did wrestling when I was in high school. I hated it the entire time. But that tennis, I loved. I never missed tennis. I loved tennis to death. And you know what? I was the best of my team, but I wasn't that great against like actual other teams. Like I held my own, but I in the end pretty much got beat every time. But I still just enjoyed the game. Just enjoyed the game. And that's how I've been with tennis for a long time. I've always been one of the best players of my friends, but I think the reason why I became so good was just because I loved the consistency. I loved playing it consistently. It was easy for me to just go and play. And over time, I didn't even realize it, but I built my life to make it easy to go play tennis at any point in time. I always kept sneakers in my car. I literally have 7 tennis rackets in my car right now, 30 to 40 tennis balls in my car right now. See what I'm saying? Things like that. And there, at one point during the summer, I kept tennis balls in here. I kept a speaker in here at all times, so that I can have music while I'm playing. So I lowered the bar. I made it easier for myself. When you decide to one begin being consistent with something, you have to make it easy for the future you. It's not that hard for me to say, "Oh, let's go play tennis." When I have the tennis balls, the tennis racket, the the sneakers already here in the car. Only thing I need now, and the speakers in here, only thing I need now is to put on some shorts and a t-shirt. Lowering the bar makes it easy. And that's the other type of lowering the bar. So there's lowering the bar, meaning if you don't want to do a hard, like serious, like process of enjoying whatever you're doing, of doing whatever you're doing, if you don't want to do that hard process, like what I mean by that is if you don't want it to be a process where you don't enjoy it. Like you don't want it to be something where you go into the gym and you're hammering out your sets and reps and you're angry, you're not really enjoying it. Lower the bar, meaning lower that standard, that perfectionism that says I have to meet whatever my sets is for the day, whatever the workout plan is. Throw out the workout plan and say I'm not going to do that today. I'm just going to build consistency today. And that is a powerful thing because you're saying it's more important to me to be consistent than to be perfect. And it's almost offering yourself a little bit of love, saying you can't be perfect, but you can be consistent. I've had moments with this communication where I realize, like, okay, I can be consistent. I can't be perfect. I've had talks and vocal exercise days where I was really struggling to develop my thoughts. Like just like earlier when I said tennis ball instead of speaker, like like worse than this, right? And I realized like the consistency alone can be the bar. That can if you set your bar and say like this is my standard, I'm just going to be consistent. That means whatever it looks like, it's enough for me as long as I show up, as long as I'm available. So that could mean for you going to the gym. I know this is going to be a long video because it hits on so much. But that can mean you going to the gym and rather than looking at your phone and looking at your workout plan and checking off those boxes, you say, I'm just going to go to the gym today. It's a powerful thing. I'm just going to go to the gym, right? It's an amazing thing. You could just say, I'm just going to go to the gym, and that could be it. That could be it. That could be the entire, I'm just going to go. And then once you're there, what do we know that happens? We're warmer, uptight people. We ease into things. Well, I already have my sneakers on, got the shorts and t-shirt on. I already drove here. The 15 minutes of drive is gone. I already scanned in. I might as well work out. Lowering the bar can lower that resistance in your mind that says, oh, I can't do this if I haven't done this yet. Lower that bar. And once you go in, if you decide to do your list, that's fully up to you. But you can choose not to. Because the choice not to do the perfectionist list just means that you're building consistency. I'm going to show up, even if that means my showing up isn't perfect. See what I'm saying? You want to lower that in your mind and say, hey, it doesn't matter if I actually like hit all of my points that I'm supposed to, hit all of my deadlines and standards that I would normally. It doesn't really matter. What matters is me showing up and being consistent. What do we do at work? We have days where we produce amazingly. We produce amazing work, right? But then we have days where we're a little tired, but we showed up. We showed up, right? So our work is down here. But we often say we lower the bar for our bosses and for the workplace and we say, I'm here. I showed up, right? And there's many of us that do that, but we don't do that with other things in life, with ourselves. We don't treat ourselves with that much grace. We say to the boss, well, I'm here. I showed up on time. I'm just a little tired. Just give me a little grace. We're fine by saying, like, I'm here. We're fine with saying that, like, I showed up. And that's consistency. That's why it's easier for people to show up to work than it is to show up to the gym for themselves. And that's a tragedy. Because that means you haven't offered yourself that same olive branch, that same love that says, hey, I can just show up in whatever way I need to show up right now, that's going to be good enough. You're basically telling yourself it's not good enough for you to just show up. You've got to also be perfect. And that's a standard that hurts you more than it helps you. I'm a victim of this with the gym as well. I should be going to the gym even though I'm paying for it. I'm paying $25 a month, right? But I could just make the habit of going to the gym by just showing up, right? I'm just going to go to the gym. No, I don't have any plans in mind. I'm just going to go, right? I'm just going to make it my business to go. And you do. And then once you get there, you could walk right out, but you consistently showed up. And what often happens, like I said, you get there and you do something. And I would say that that's worth it more than sitting at home feeling like it's not perfect enough yet to be able to go and do this thing. I don't have enough information. I don't feel like doing all of the checklist of things that will make it perfect. So lower that bar. Another way that you can think about this lowering the bar um, mindset is in conversation. What I found is like now that I've like monitored so much that I said, I know how I talk. I know like what I'm going to say for the most part. I have like, I know my little habits that I lean on. Like is one of my words. Obviously, those are things that I lean on. And there's little bridges, little phrases that I use consistently to get me to continue talking. Right? That's another bridge right then and there. Right to something that I'll use as a bridge or something that I use to fill the space, right? So, as that's something that I use, I'm fully aware of those. I'm becoming more and more aware as I listen to myself talk more and more. I become more and more aware of my downfalls. But because I'm becoming more and more aware, it can affect how I'm communicating as I'm communicating, and it can get in the way of my flow. So if I'm in a flow currently, and I'm thinking about how I said right, or I said like, or I said that can throw off the flow. Meaning, if I judge my process while I'm in process, it disrupts my flow. And that's the same thing with conversations. When you're talking with people, lower that bar. What that means is when you're having that conversation, know that you can say illegible words, illiterate words. It's fine. It's a conversation. It's an exchange of energy. And when you think about it, before there were even words, we communicated through grunts and through sounds. We are pre-verbal beings. We weren't born with the ability to speak. Not initially. We developed that. And we we were children, we grew up and learned little sounds. But what happens when we're a baby and we can't yet communicate those words? We say goo goo gaga. And we say it in a certain kind of way that our mom or father, auntie, uncle, whoever is watching us might be able to get a feeling that we're saying, I want my bottle. I'm hungry. Or might be getting a feeling, I gotta pee and I don't know what to do about it. It hurts or it's uncomfortable. I have to doo doo and it's uncomfortable. So that's our communication that we lose track of. Like, you ever look at a dog in his eye and you can tell he's barking from a place of I love you, not from a place of bark, get away. They have different types of barks. They might bark like, come rub me. I used to have a dog. He would bark whenever you wouldn't rub him. Like, literally, you try to rub him and then he completely stops barking. But he'd bark whenever you weren't rubbing him. See what I'm saying? Like, but we somehow knew the difference. Like, it's not bark, get away, I will bite you, I will charge at you. No, it's bark, come here, why aren't you rubbing me? See what I'm saying? Cats, cats are so advanced, they know that their cuteness draws people to rub them, draws them to get attention. So what they'll do is, my cat used to lay on its back and look up at you with those big dilated eyes. Just the cutest little cat, right? It's almost like they know. And we know exactly what they want when they do that. They want attention. They want to be loved. And weirdly, we've conditioned them to know that they're cute, to know that if they move their body a certain way, they will get that attention. And we've reinforced that. So reinforce that for yourself by you saying, it's okay if I don't knock off all the things on my checklist when I'm going to the gym. I'm just going to show up and be consistent. Just like at that job, I'm just going to show up. I'm here. At least I'm here. That's what we often say. At least I showed up to work. At least you showed up to the gym. At least you showed up for yourself. And that's real. Along with that, like I was saying with the communication, lowering that bar of what you can talk about, what you can say, not having to have something perfect. Sometimes the best thing you can say is, yeah, okay, I feel you. That's crazy. Wow. That's one of my favorite things to use. And people think that it often comes off sarcastic, but I mean it seriously. That's all I have to say. And it's sometimes just in agreement with what you're saying. Sometimes it's just, I don't have anything to say. And that genuinely is crazy. I'm not telling you I don't want to hear anything more of what you want to say. It's just I don't have much to add to what you've already said. So I kind of want you to just keep going. I'm hoping that you do, because I don't have anything to add. Lowering that bar means you'll probably get in more conversations. We often feel like reluctant to talk to people that we don't know because we think, well, what am I going to say? What's wrong with hi? And that's cliche, right? We always say, just say hi. But the truth is, if that's what comes to your mind, it's good enough. Whatever comes to your mind is good enough. You could say, I just wanted to stand here next to you. Weird, right? But lower that bar. It's not really a big deal. You never know what that conversation will yield if you just step into it. You don't know. You might not know what to say, but realize it doesn't matter that much what you say. I thought, and this is a tangent, I thought SpongeBob, the show SpongeBob, I thought Patrick was one of the best guys because he had something about himself where he almost had like an intelligent dumbness. To me, I felt like he was a fun guy. Like if you listen to him talk, you listen to his vibe, he's just a guy that's enjoying himself. have elements of that, add elements of that to yourself, like not having to be so witty and so smart, having the best things to say. And it's weird. Like, I think that a lot of times I have friends and family and people that view me as that, but I have to actively work to not be that all the time and allow myself to be imperfect, allow myself to say something that doesn't come off witty, doesn't come off smart, doesn't come off deep and full of wisdom. Sometimes it's just I just come off like a regular, ordinary guy that's being real. See what I'm saying? I naturally think in that deep way, and I can take anything and make it deep, even this moment. But I have to work on the other side of things, being able to talk about nothing, talk about the weather, talk about surface things like they're nothing. That's why I'm able to have these videos, but at the same time, I feel like I'm trying to work in more little jokes in there, like not taking myself so seriously. Who cares? This is why I wear the glasses. Who cares? It's not really that big of a deal. Let yourself loose, let yourself be free by lowering the bar. God bless you guys. Have a great day.